Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 1988 Lamborghini Countach LP5000 QV. Now, the Lamborghini Countach is a supercar that was built between 1974 and 1990, with 1,983 being produced. And this succeeded the really rather great Miura, and then this was eventually succeeded by the Diablo. And this popularised three design elements that would be used on numerous cars. Firstly, it had the sharply angled wedge design, which, plenty of cars in the 70s and 80s had a wedge design, Lotus Esprit, Ferrari F40 and the likes. It also used a cab forward design concept, which basically meant the passenger compartment was as far forward as possible to accommodate a mid-engined engine that was really rather large. And it also had was the first production car to use scissor doors. Scissor doors obviously become popularised in many other different supercars, but Lamborghini have used them in numerous of their vehicles, and in pretty much their best vehicles as well. And this version of the car was introduced in 1985, and it was the most powerful version of the car. And notable for its really rather mad styling, even in its original form in 1974, but it eventually got the wings and the spoilers and everything else added onto it eventually over time. But one thing that did change that was more important was the engine. As you can see here, it's got a 5.2 litre V12 engine producing 455 horsepower and 369 pounds-feet of torque. Now, this was the European carbureted version that used 6 Weber carburetors to up the power from 414 horsepower to obviously 455. Only 610 of the cars that were produced were this version though, so incredibly rare compared to the standard version. And even though it does have all that power, it's somewhat wasted on the fact it weighs 3,284 pounds, which is slightly more than another in the late 80s supercar in the form of the Porsche 959, and a lot more than the Ferrari F40, which this car has some similar styling to, but that car weighs a lot less than this and has more power. So by no means a competitive supercar, but it does look insane. As you can see, even by today's standards, it's really rather quite mad. And it's got a real cavalier attitude to car design, really, because it's more about the power and the looks than anything else. So in terms of space, in terms of any boot, well, you've got no space in the front because that's for a spare wheel and a battery. And in terms of the rear boot space, well, there is a boot there, but it's not what you'd call spacious, if I can show you in a second. It's not letting me, so I'll just press X. So as you can see, you probably could get a bag in there. Anything else more than that, you'd be pushing your luck, quite frankly. So and it's not just in terms of boot space either. You've got no rear seats, unlike the Porsche 959. And interior wise, you're really rather cocooned in here. And the dashboard does look like it's just been bolted on from random bits, quite frankly. That square centerpiece really reminds me of the Rover SD1, which also had all of its instrument clusters in a square little box, so it could be swapped from left-hand drive or right-hand drive. So that's pretty much the only practical thing about this car. So obviously it doesn't even have windows that can be opened, as has been notable for this car. It's been noted in real life reviews that the windows are really rather small and pathetic. And another thing is with these carburetors on the car, rather than the fuel injection that you could also have, it's got a really rather large hump on top of the engine cover, so visibility is 0 compared to normal, where it's pretty much just a letterbox. So you can't see out the back of it, can't really take anything with you, can only take one other person with you, and it's slower and heavier than two rival supercars from the time. So let's get out onto the open road and see if this car is good at anything. Now, I say good at anything in a not a harsh way or anything, because obviously this car is good in ways. Firstly, it looks absolute bonkers. I do like the styling. it certainly stands out and has a lot of presence going for it, especially in comparison to the Porsche 959 or the Ferrari F40, which, yes, the Ferrari F40 does have quite a large wing, it does have an angled wedge shape at the front, but it looks a little bit restrained in comparison to this. And yeah, this also has the larger engine over those two cars. The Ferrari obviously has a V8 and the Porsche 959 has a flat 6, and this certainly has, as far as I'm concerned, the better sounding engine. Sure, you don't have the turbocharging noises of the 959 or F40, but it's purely naturally aspirated V12, for my money, is the better sounding engine. And yeah, even though it's not as fast as those two other cars, it's still really rather quick. 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, 0 to 111.9 seconds, and it goes to a top speed of 190 miles an hour. So yeah, that is again way down on the F40 on 959. I mean, it's 1.2 seconds slower to 60 than the F40, and the 959 can do 199 mile an hour and the F40 can do 201. But again, I still really rather like this car. It's not just about performance and top speed, it's about how the car makes you feel, how it, you know, what you feel about it when you look at it. And yeah, you just think wow. And yeah, it's probably more of a car for a poster or something like that rather than an actual car, because yeah, it is pretty much all about the looks, but it still nonetheless is a fun car to drive. It is still nonetheless a quick car to drive. And yeah, even though it wasn't really made to compete against the likes of the F40 or the 959, it's still able to somewhat keep up, even though obviously it's, you know, on a track especially, it wouldn't have a hope in hell of at least keeping up with the F40, because that pretty much is a track car for the road in a lot of ways. So yeah, nonetheless, I think this is a cracking car in its own right, and yeah, it was certainly an important car for Lamborghini, because yeah, it really showed the world that they could make more than just a fast car. They could make a car that looked absolutely bonkers in the process, because yeah, the Miura in a lot of ways was kind of restrained, whereas with this they just went all out, and yeah, certainly set their mark in terms of being a bonkers car maker that was all about power and presence and looks and anything else. And yeah, unfortunately that didn't last long. Obviously after the likes of the Diablo and the Murcielago, they sort of waned on that with the Gallardo and the Huracan. But the likes of the Sesto Elemento and yeah, the other one, can't remember it now. It's Centenario, that one. Sort of brought it back with those two cars, but they're a lot rarer and certainly not full-on production cars like this and a couple of their other crazy cars were. But still a great car, and yeah, I'm glad that this has made numerous appearances in Forza games, because yeah, I do really rather enjoy driving it no matter what game I'm on. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.